Saying, "I feel guilty," is a remarkably blunt tool for diagnosing a highly complex knot of human emotions. When we lack precise language for a feeling, we get trapped inside the sensation. We simply cannot process an experience that we cannot properly identify. This diagram shows how we can map remorse on a specific chronology. Every mistake starts at a single point of commission, then splinters outward through hidden consequences, social fallout, and eventually a final point of resolution. Precision in language changes how we interact with the emotion. By naming the exact stage of remorse, we can stop circling the feeling and begin the specific work required to address it. The timeline begins in the immediate aftermath of an error. This is the stage of concealment, where the primary instinct is to hide the mistake from the outside world. This brings us to guilt in the pocket. It is the distinct sensation of carrying private regret physically close to you, forcing a smile and projecting a normal day while guarding a secret. Sometimes that secret moves up to the mouth. Guilt under the tongue is the physical effort of holding back an uncomfortable truth. It actively suppresses normal actions, turning every bite of food slow and making casual conversation difficult. As the effort to hide continues, it ruins basic physical comforts. Guilt on the cold plate is the specific regret that destroys your appetite, leaving your dinner to sit untouched while your mind races. Concealed guilt consumes energy. It functions as an active, exhausting weight that forces the mind to stay vigilant long after the mistake itself is over. You cannot contain that weight forever. Eventually, the psychological pressure breaches containment and leaks directly into the body's nervous system. To describe this, we use the short idioms, rapid, visceral hits of regret that strike without warning. You might feel a guilt-tight chest, which is the acute physical pressure and stress of an impending consequence closing in on you. Or you might experience guilt-cold hands. The regret creates a physical stiffness and deep hesitation that infects otherwise normal social interactions, like holding back a simple handshake. This diagram illustrates guilt on the second clock, showing how physical panic begins to warp our perception of time. Notice how the distance between each tick stretches out. The minutes drag agonizingly as the mind replays the blame. That temporal distortion often results in a guilt-late text. The anxiety produces cascading digital messages, a delayed, panicked attempt to reach out after too much time has already passed. The physical and temporal leak of guilt traps the body in a continuous state of high alert, warping reality in the process. From there, the internal leak bleeds out into the external social sphere. This is where we find the long idioms. These are phrases that describe exactly how regret pollutes our shared environments. Take guilt at the wrong table. This is the psychological sensation of sudden, acute alienation within a familiar group, where your hidden fault makes you feel entirely out of place. Or consider the tension of guilt in the room when names go quiet. This captures the exact second a casual conversation brushes against a sensitive topic, and a heavy silence falls over the group. This diagram models the collision between social exposure and internal regret. By merging, these forces create a volatile compound emotion. We call this guilt and shame on the same bench. Embarrassment and self-doubt bind into a solid weight, pressing down and paralyzing the individual. Unresolved guilt effectively weaponizes our safest environments. It turns everything from a quiet hallway light to a spare chair in a room into a deeply hostile space. Mapping our remorse allows us to see exactly where the internal pressure is coming from. From this point on the timeline, we can apply the specific tools needed for resolution. To break the cycle of infection, we have to use the apology idioms. These are the definitive, action-oriented tools required to make tangible repairs. It requires leaving behind guilt in the closed drawer. Instead, you have to uncurl the hand and practice guilt in the open palm. An open palm apology means owning the fault plainly. You state what happened while systematically stripping away all caveats, excuses, and defensive reflexes. You lock this into place with guilt on the honest note, taking your regret and putting it into clear terms the injured party can process easily. The final stage of the chronology is guilt with the clean fix. This stage moves beyond the verbal, focusing on the direct, mechanical repair of whatever was broken. Adopting this precise language bridges the gap between an abstract emotion and tangible reality. It transforms the silent burden of a mistake into a clear, actionable map for earning a clean and peaceful conscience.